Welcome to the After Spin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon. On our show 2 weeks ago, State Treasurer Dale Folwell said that the state has a debt of close to $50 billion due to unfunded promises we've made to current and retired state employees. Now, there are a lot of opinions as to how to pay that back and how fast to do so. What's your reaction to this debt? John, I'll start with you.
Well, there are basically three options. You could start saving a lot more money right now to handle the pension and retiree health benefit problems that we have. Number two, you could stop adding new people into the promises, like new employees wouldn't have the same kind of pension promises or the same retiree health benefit promises. That has some long-term effects. It doesn't help you in the short run. And frankly, the third alternative is to stiff the in-state employees and retirees to some extent. Now, as painful as it may be to think about this, we'll probably do all three, because it is unlikely that we will save enough money. I mean, we would have to save more than, actually, billions of dollars a year. No one's going to vote for that. They're not going to do that. So we're not going to save enough to pay all this liability off. We are going to reduce to some extent the promises for the next generation of state employees, and probably the people currently in the pipeline will, particularly with the retiree health benefit, not get everything they were promised.
We'll see an uprising of 100,000 people in North Carolina if that happens, because they say they've already been paying into this through higher deductibles and higher premiums.
The pension fund, yes. The retiree health benefit, no one's been paying for it. So that it's not like that, but they still would have a legitimate gripe if the state relied primarily on repudiating that obligation. I don't think the state can do that.
I don't think an elected official wants to do it on the back of state employees. Well, I could be wrong. Chris?
Well, we just talked on the show about a big surplus, a one-time surplus, and certainly some of that money should go for this. And I think the second thing would be this would be not the year to make dramatic tax reductions. Well, the same people who were talking about these unfunded, by the way, the state employees, I think, point out this is an unfunded responsibility, not a liability, which I think is just an interesting way to think about it. So some of the same people who keep wanting to cut taxes again and again and then complain we have this giant unfunded responsibility or liability are taking money out of the revenue stream that we could be used for a part of it. I don't disagree that we can't solve all this. We're not going to save all this money, but I think we should put a lot more money in that fund as much as we can. I think if we're going to look at making some adjustments to the plan, the state employees should be at the table. We should figure out a solution. They should be involved in crafting this, because I do think it is a responsibility, not a liability. The long-term effect, even if you do reduce these things, if you save a little money, you're going to make it harder to recruit good state employees who haven't been getting a pay raise. So it's a very complicated issue, which is why a lot of people don't want to talk about it and a lot of people don't want to deal with it.
Well, we've hidden from this problem for many, many years. We've known for a long time it's happening. So far as it goes, Treasurer Folwell, as I said, was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and the reaction and response that I got to his appearance was very positive. He was kind of guarded in his proposals so far as solutions to this concern. Are y'all fairly confident that he's going to be able to help get a compromise?
He can convene, he can propose, he can pressure, but remember that all of these almost all of the decisions that could affect the liability or responsibility, liability is the correct accounting term, most of those are legislative. He can't do them. He can administer them, he can carry them out, but he's got to convince lawmakers of both parties who, frankly, haven't paid attention to this for 25 years. They've known this problem existed for a long time. Nobody cared about it because it was in the future. Well, the future is now. And if you're not going to take these responsibilities, these debts, seriously, then you don't deserve to be taken seriously as a state policymaker.
Chris, does it help that he served in the legislature?
Well, yeah, I hope so. He also mentioned that he thinks we're not getting a good enough return on our investments, especially for the pension plan, and that I think the average investment over the last 12 months has been in the 6% range, and it's based on a 7.5% range. So hopefully we can move that up, and which would reduce the accumulating debt or responsibility that we have.
That's pension fund money.
That's right. That's pension fund money, which is you're adding those all together.
Right.
One of the things I think, as a side note, was the most fascinating. The Program Evaluation Committee of the legislature and the bills introduced by Senator Krawick, which has all these options, and one of them, and I'm not making this up, is to give state early retirees incentives to enroll in the Affordable Care Act. Well, think about that for a second. Senator Krawick is telling people, Krawick, we need to study whether or not we should send early state retirees into the Affordable Care Act that she and all the Republicans want to repeal.
We'll have to ponder on that one. Thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.